From cookies to cakes and everything in between, baking is a form of relaxation for Barbara Mojan-Gignoni. Barbara is a self-taught baker who has worked professionally in bakeries and as a pastry chef for restaurants, and now works for herself. You're the boss.
That's me.
Not
I know.
bad.
I like working for myself. It's great. I get to make things for all my clients, and I get to create beautiful desserts and have people enjoy them.
And do it on your own time.
And do it on my own time. That's right.
How'd you get started, Barbara?
Well, I started very young with my mom. She's a great baker. And then I've spent years in the hospitality industry. I've planned over 300 weddings.
Oh my goodness.
So I worked really closely with chefs and pastry chefs and wedding cake decorators. And then I just sort of decided that's really what I wanted to do. So I taught myself through years of studying of cookbooks and techniques and
trial and error, probably.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Well, good. All right. What are we going to make here today? It's very pretty.
Thanks. We're making a mixed berry crostata. A crostata is the Italian word for fruit tart.
Okay.
But here in the U.S., we've sort of adopted it to mean a rustic tart, which is great because it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just be beautiful in its own rustic way.
And taste good.
And taste good. Well, the tasting good is the best part. That's right. So we're going to start down here making the crust. So
I'm usually intimidated with making crust, I gotta tell you.
This is I like to call it a user-friendly crust.
Okay.
Because it's a fortified crust, which means there's not just butter in the crust. There's also egg yolks and egg and cream, which helps bind it together, and it's easier to manipulate. So you start with your dry ingredients, which is flour and sugar, baking powder, and salt.
Okay.
And also the zest of 1 lemon, which helps bump up the flavor in the crust a little bit.
Oh.
And to that you add your butter, which is cubed and chilled. It's got to be very cold when you're using it, because that helps your pastry crust remain flaky if it's cold. And then you just quickly process it.
Okay.
And, whoops, there we go. And you just want to do it until the texture becomes sandy.
Okay.
Where you don't see a lot of butter flakes left.
That's when you're good, right?
It looks like cornmeal almost. So if you want to see that's about right, you might
that was
want
pretty
to
easy. That was quick.
It's quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to overdo it, I guess.
No,
right?
you don't want the butter to get too warm, which is a good reason to use the food processor because it goes fast. So if you want to dump these in, this is our cream.
This is going right in here?
Yep, that's lemon juice.
Lemon?
Yep, and this is cream and eggs and egg yolk and a little bit of vanilla, and I'll help you out there.
Thanks,
Get
Barbara.
the last little bit of it.
You're sous chef, I suppose.
There you go. And then you just process this until it starts to come together. You don't want to take it too far. You just want to take it till you see it sort of wrapping around the blade just a little bit. And that's it.
Okay.
You're done. Your crust is made.
All right.
Now you take it and you just dump it onto some plastic wrap. And it gets a little messy, but that's the good part of baking. That's the fun part. That's right. Get all the last little bit out, because that's where all your moisture is. It sort of gets stuck sometimes onto the bowl of the food processor.
All right, we have about 2 minutes.
Okay, so that you would bring together and you would put it in the fridge and let it rest. And then you would roll it out. It's really easy if you roll it out between parchment paper. That's a good thing for first-time bakers. Don't try and just do it on the counter. Do it on parchment.
All right. And then
here is your rolled out dough. There you go. And then
Okay.
your filling. You have strawberries, and you just want to cut the strawberries into sort of usable size pieces. And you can use any berries you want. So you can use strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, whatever you got.
Okay. And
all right?
you've chose, looks like we have blackberries
and strawberries. Just
okay.
blackberries and strawberries this time of year. So we've got our dry ingredients, which is flour and sugar and a little pinch of salt. We've got some more lemon juice. And this time of year, I like to put a little strawberry jam in because it helps the flavor of the berries, because berries are not totally in season right yet.
Okay.
So if you're not doing this in summertime, you'd want to add the jam.
Kick it up a notch.
That's right. So then you want to mix this. We'll go fast, but you want to mix this until all the flour is sort of incorporated. You don't see any flour anymore.
Okay.
This is a quick little tip.
Great.
If you have leftover cupcakes or cookies or cakes, crumble up a little bit and put it in the bottom of your tart shell, because that will soak up the extra juices from your berries, and you won't have a soggy tart then.
I love that idea.
So then you dump this on top, which we can do even though it's not all mixed. We'll do it just so you can see.
I'm assuming you probably have the oven preheated?
It's preheated to 400. And you leave it at 400 for the first 10 minutes of baking.
Okay.
And then you take it down to 375, because you don't want to over brown the crust, but you want this berries to have time to cook.
All right.
So then you would just crimp your dough. You just go around. It's very easy.
And it's all staying together, which is nice.
It's all staying together. And you just crimp around. And there's your tart. You sort of push it together. You can do anything you want. And then you take some heavy cream.
Okay.
And you paint it onto your dough. to make
It looks pretty already, and you haven't even cooked
There
it
you
yet.
go.
I know
And
that we're going to taste this at the end of the show.
we are, and you just sand it with a little bit of sugar,
It gives it a little
a
sparkle,
little
right?
sparkle, and when it comes out of the oven, that's what you have.
Barbara, I love that. Thank you so much.
Great.
We'll have the recipe on WTNH.com.
Wonderful.
All right.